Nah, picture me rolling, tip of my chauffeur. Niggas look jealous, you gotta control it. Reaching my quota, mixing my soda. Feeling connected to God, trying to get closer. Stepping on roaches, me and my loasters.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Elisha here, and welcome back to Go. This is the show where we discuss everything in the world of football from the past week, and by we I mean myself and you, the fans, the people who make up the world of football. This week, got a lot to talk about, a whole lot, some controversial and not so controversial events in football, but let's get right into the business. First off, let's talk about some women's football, and congratulations to Alex Morgan for being only the sixth woman in U.S. women's national team to score 100 goals in her career. Only the sixth woman. Now she solidified her name in U.S. history as official. I mean, we been knew she was a legend. We been knew it, but now she's in an elite club of her own, and she scored it, and she's just not at like the height of her career, and she already has that 100. But it is good that she's accomplishing things like this so early, especially the year of the World Cup. I mean, she has won it already, but the fact that it feels like this team is so strong and she's at her peak and the World Cup is this summer is really good sign for the U.S. national team. And if she stays healthy, then they're really going to be a problem, and they might just win it. They're definitely one of the favorites. But now let's move on to Serie A, and really, the headlines on this have been crazy. The one thing that's been circling the Serie A and football news all throughout this week is the whole Moise Kean-Bonucci situation. Now, there's been times, and it's not something that we should get used to, but there have been times where fans, especially most recently, Raheem Sterling has been the subject of racial abuse by some fans in the games. And this same thing happened to Moise Kean. You know, he went and celebrated against Cagliari during the week, as you know, Ronaldo's injured, so he's been playing a lot more and starting for Juventus, and he went to celebrate and kind of posted himself up in front of the fans. And you know, a lot of things, a lot of racial suggestions and demeaning things were sent towards him and said to him. And you know, it's definitely, it's more than just not cool. Like it has no place, and teams, FIFA overall should do a lot more. Referees, the security guards, the whole community, the whole ensemble of people in football should do a lot more to fight against these things, and players should be walking off. Players should be advocating more for these things in press conferences and their platforms on social media, so that people know that this just won't be tolerated. You know, it's we're in 2019 and things like that are happening, and it takes both sides. It takes black players to stand up and speak up and be like, you know what, if this happens, I'm not playing. And it takes also players, not just white players, from other races, because football is such a melting pot and so many different people, races play on one team. Everyone should be like, you know what, we're going to support our teammates and walk off also and say we're not playing until this stops, until the proper sanctions are taken against these players. But the same thing happened to Moise Kean, and Bonucci did the exact opposite. He went after in a press conference and said that it was about 50-50 and that Moise shouldn't have celebrated like that in front of the fans, and that it was disrespectful. Like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Everybody is like, what is this guy doing? This is your teammate. This guy is, what, 19 years old, and you're not taking his side. Like, you have to be a special kind of bigot to not even be able to lie about your bigotry in front of cameras. Like, you know, you're a public figure and there's millions of people listening to what you say at all times. You can't even lie about it. He couldn't even do that. He had to say, oh, it's 50-50. What are you defending? And people came at him, like from Stormzy, Pogba. You have Matuidi was pissed off during the game, not just after the fact. Sterling, who's been like the face of this discussion in football most recently. Everybody's coming after this guy. And then he comes out a few days later. Mind you, all this time, Moise is silent, not saying anything, posting his little slick silent emoji on Twitter, not saying anything about the whole situation. And then Bonucci comes out with a statement a few days later saying his words were misunderstood.
Boy, if you don't...
Misunderstood how? 50-50. There's no 50-50. The whole thing the only thing he should have said, the only thing that should have been coming out of his mouth is condemning the fans and the team for not taking enough action against the abuse that was taken against his teammate. You're supposed to have his back. And if you're a veteran in the Serie A, in Juventus, and you're not taking the side of your teammate, what are you doing? You shouldn't be there. But anyways, the kid handled the whole situation so beautifully, and when they played against Milan, he scored the winning goal for them. Like, this is how you make a statement, all right? You let your game speak for itself. You don't, say a whole lot of things about the situation. You take it, you win games, and that's how you really show what you're about. Ronaldo's not here now. He's taking over and he's scoring winning games for Juventus. And that's all I want to see from this young king. Keep shining, keep working hard. And there's going to be a lot more of that. In Italy, not saying that Italy, not to put anything out there because I don't live in Italy and I don't know how the situation is. But it's not like this happens before. So there is a culture of racism roaming around Italy and it needs to be exposed. You know what? Keep doing that. Fans, keep doing that. Keep showing yourself so that it can become a bigger conversation so that people don't just think that it's not there, because it really is. Anyways, now let's move on to the Premier League and the highlight game of this week. Liverpool against Southampton. Liverpool coming back from a 1-0 deficit and Salah going crazy at the end with that goal, taking off his shirt and everything. And you can just imagine like the relief when you score that goal and you equalize and then you score the winner and Henderson capping it off at the end. It's just incredible. Like being in this position that they kind of screwed themselves a little bit, seeing that they were doing so well, and now they're only 2 points ahead of Man City, with Man City who have a game in hand. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. But seeing how exciting like this end of the season is and how they're holding on tight and both of them are trying to win. They have to win every single game to win this. Liverpool are kind of have the short hand of the stick because they have to win and Man City have to slip up at some point. But right now the Premier League is super exciting. But as I said again, I cannot wait to see how this season plays out and who's going to come out on top. And a similar script is going on right now in the Bundesliga. This weekend was Der Klassiker, Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, and usually it's super competitive. It's like El Clasico. Well, not the few El Clasicos that this year, because Barca has absolutely destroyed Real. But whatever, we're not talking about that right now. But Bayern possibly might have reclaimed the Bundesliga title once again for the 7th year in a row. It looks like they're gonna run away with this. And Dortmund had such a promising run. I've talked about this so many times. It's sad to see that they've put in so much work and that they just seem so unmotivated in the end of the season. They've let so many stupid goals in.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
So much chances to win it, leads that they blew. It's so discouraging. But at the end of the day, the season is not done. There's still time. Anything can happen. Right now, they need to focus on the next game, just like Liverpool, and making sure that they do what they have to do and hope and pray that their opponent slips up. They're in the exact same situation right now. Exact same situation. They have one point deficit. If Man City wins their next game, it's going to be the exact same position. Who's going to take it? Bayern, Dortmund, or Liverpool, Man City? Let's see, man. But I'm excited. I'm so excited for the end of the season. It's going to come down to the wire, the very last game, and I know it. But now let's come all the way back over here to the US and right here in NYC. NYCFC against Montreal, finish in 0-0. But, okay, right now in the East, relax, NYC fans, relax, okay? At least you're not last. Atlanta is, all right? But it's not looking too good right now in the beginning of the season. It's a little bumpy for NYC. But what I will say that it's promising. Okay, they drew to Montreal, but they had the most possession. They had the most shots on target. They had most passes, greater passing accuracy. So it seems like New York is playing well. All right, they're playing really well and they're dominating the games, being more clinical, getting that ball at the back of the net at the end of the day is what wins it. So that's the only thing, okay? Being more clinical getting those goals in, having 4 shots on target and none of them going in, like, you know, that itself, having just one of those goals can win that game. It finished 0-0. And Montreal really wasn't an attacking threat in that game. So next time, you know, you're not last. Just like Atlanta is last, but they just won the MLS championship, like just a few months ago, less than a year ago. So that shows you, okay, teams change, teams evolve, and because they're at this spot now, doesn't mean that's how they're going to finish at the end of the season. So, and it's just the beginning, so give it some time, fans. Be patient, okay? Just breathe. And it's the same thing with Toronto against Chicago. Toronto played a far, far better game than Chicago, but it ended up 2-2. It was a draw, and this goes to show, like, sometimes the better team might not win the game, and that's just how football goes sometimes. But you can't let that shape your idea for the rest of the season and your idea of the team overall. Those are good signs. The fact that they're playing better, it's like individual players in tryouts, you know, because you're not receiving the ball doesn't mean that the coach doesn't see you making the right runs, doesn't see, that's not, you know, they see you pressing, doing all the right things. So it's good sign. It shows that what you're supposed to be doing, you're doing that. When your time comes for you to get that ball, for you to get the goal, it's going to come. So just keep doing that and working on being more clinical. That's it. And it looks like it's all about Los Angeles in the West. LAFC is first. LA Galaxy is second. Right now, Ibrahimovic got his 26th goal in 30 games in the MLS. This man goes one after the other, one league after the other, and just keeps destroying everywhere he goes. 26 games, 26 goals, 30 games. 37 years old, and this man has scored 26 goals in 30 games. Showing to these youngins how it's done. You know what I'm saying? He'll be on his walker in 20 years and still playing, still scoring goals. Who's going to stop Ibra? Is there a sniper in the room? Now, I wasn't even going to talk about PSG today unless they won their game, which would have basically guaranteed them the League One title. So they would have been celebrations or whatever. I would have congratulated them, whatever, even though we know that they were going to win since mad long ago. But I just had to bring up today this man, Choupo-Moting. Choupo-Moting. Moting Choupo. Look at this. Look at this. This man has just made the best defensive play and the worst offensive play of the season, possibly of history, both together in the same exact play. You stop your teammate from scoring on the touchline. This is like some goal line technology. I've never seen something like this in my life. PSG holding L's all 2019. But anyways, for this week, that's pretty much gonna be it. And you can look forward to Champions League football this upcoming week. It's back. It's back. 2 back-to-back week of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Let's go. Let's get it. All right. You got Barca against Manchester United. Bing, 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 bing. You got Liverpool against Porto. Bing, 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 bing. Okay, Ajax, Juventus. Bing, 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 bing. Tottenham, Man City, cheese, Premier League, bing, 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 bing. Come on, let's get it. Listen, man, I just know whatever happens this week, we're gonna have one of the most iconic and fire quarterfinals in Champions League history. More upsets to come, more surprises, more goals, more everything. Just stay tuned, watch the games, all right? And if you don't, just come back here and I'm gonna tell you all about it next week, okay? But anyways, man, hopefully this weekend and for a long time, we won't have to deal with things like the abuse that happened to Moise Kean and all that stupid stuff, man. But on the flip side, hopefully this highlights a problem that's well alive throughout the entire world right now, in Europe, also right here in the US, and that the officials can actually start saying, you know what, these players are the players and the fans and are bringing in, they're the ones driving the game, okay? And if we're not protecting them, then you know, it's just hypocrisy, and you should be protecting the players, you should be protecting the fans, and everybody should feel like they're safe in this game because it welcomes everybody. All right, so all my people out there, don't let it get to you, okay? One day, all of this will end, and if it doesn't fully end, definitely the good will overpower the bad, all right? So just be patient and keep fighting for it. But that's pretty much gonna be it this week in football news. Stay tuned next week for yet another episode of Goal. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like for it. Also subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you don't miss any videos when they come out. Check out the music by yours truly, the great King Nipsey Hussle. Rest in powerful eternal peace to one of the greatest to ever do it. Also, make sure you check out the social media, the Goal, right down there in the description. And I'll see you guys next time on Goal. Peace.
Weight on my shoulder. I feel these emotions, but still I keep going. I've been to a poet. I've been through the motions.